What up fellow agents, PurePrime here. Today I'm gonna show you my base DPS build. The DPS build for the agents who are new to the whole 6 core DPS. Are you ready? Let's go! Today I'm gonna show you my base DPS build. The build that is easy to make and perfect for agents that are new to the DPS build or even new to the game. As you can see in the background, you will be able to see enemies quite easy while aiming. They will light up and they will be easy to follow and then of course easy to take down. This is an AR and rifle combination build with 2 offensive talents. You can run around with your AR and shoot some enemies, but if you just like to be in the background and take them out from a distance, you can switch over to the powerful named M1A, the Baker's Dozen. But let's see what this build is made of, guys. What up? Welcome to the build, guys. As you can see, still 6 core. Like I explained, this is the base DPS build. I'm gonna bring out more builds. So a base build, an advanced DPS build, and then pure DPS, just shredding every enemy. But this is the base build. So this will help you out when you're just new to the game or just getting used to all the talents and the enemies that hit so hard. So I started with a base build. And next week I will come with some defensive builds, and the week after that I will come with some skill builds. But this week I'm gonna devote to the DPS builds. So the base build. And why a base build? Because these are the easiest to get, or the easiest to get for weapon damage. As you can see, I'm rocking a 6 core reds with spotter on my vest and companion on my backpack. I chose this because spotter, of course, for my Fenris, that gives me 10% assault rifle damage bonus, but for the spotter it will give you amplifies weapon damage and skill damage by 15% to pulsed enemies. I'm using the specialization, the technician, and that will give me a special thing for my guns, and only for the long rails, guys. I will show you what it is, and it's the linked laser pointer, the long on the barrel rail. And this will give me the chance to pulse every enemy without using my pulse as a skill. So a third skill, you might add. So let's start with this M4, guys. I chose the M4 because it shoots straight. Of course, there are a lot other weapons that put out more DPS than the M4, for example the FAMAS, but it has a pretty high recoil and a lot of agents are having difficulties with the recoil, so that's why I started with the police M4 or just the regular M4. As you can see, it's a replica. You can just craft this bad boy, and that's a very nice thing about this. It has 15% assault rifle damage on there. I rolled it on there, 8% health damage for the core attributes, and then it came with 5% damage to armor. What I already explained in a video before, this is a must have on every build. That damage to armor, damage out of cover, or even the damage to health from the yaw mask. But let's get on with it. The sadist on there as a talent, not that fond of sadist. I would love to have something else on here, but this is the only weapon I found or crafted with the damage of armor on as an attribute. So this has sadist, deal 20% extra weapon damage to bleeding enemies. After 4 kills, applies bleed to the next enemy you hit. It's pretty nice, but yeah, would love to have some other things like strained or something like that. Then for my secondary, I chose for the Baker's Dozen, and that's the named M1A. It almost hits for 600k, and that's because I rolled that 15% rifle damage on there. It already had that 10% critical hit damage, and again that damage to armor on there of 5%. Why the Baker's Dozen? Because it has perfect lucky shot. Magazine capacity is increased by 30%, and every missed shot from cover will return to your magazine. A 100% chance. So every time you are in cover, you're shooting your baker's dozen, you miss your shot, you will get your bullet back. And this is one of the talents that you should go for if you new to the game where you don't know the talents that much. This one is free for everyone within the season, so if you have the expansion Warlords of New York, you will get this a few times. And let's get over to the build, guys. I already showed you a little bit of my vest, and that's from Fenris, and I will show you more. 13.7% weapon damage on there, 5.5% critical hit chance on there, 11.4% critical hit damage on there. I got a mod on there from 11.2% critical hit damage, and that gave me the opportunity, like we talked about, to roll Spotter on there. And this is a very nice find, guys. I'm loving this because now I can choose whatever talent I want. So try to search for a God roll vest. Of course you want a God roll vest, but look at it in the attributes and in the core attributes. If you can find that God rolled, and if you can find that exactly how you want it, then you can roll the talents over there, and then you only have to search for one particular vest, and you can just roll talent over talent over talent over talent. So you can see I rolled my talent here as well, so why not have the feeling that I can do a little bit more damage, or I want to step into another zone of talents, then I can just roll that talent away, and that's very nice of this vest. Then, as you saw, I went for 2 pieces of Providence. I would love to have that third piece, but I chose for this base build only for the Fenris instead of a vest from Providence as well. You will see that coming back in the future builds tomorrow and the day after that. But let's start with the mask, guys. 11.5% weapon damage, 3.3% critical hit chance, and that gave me the opportunity to roll the max cap of 12% critical hit damage on there. And of course, again, a critical hit damage mod of 11.3%. Why Providence? Because this gives me a headshot damage for my rifle if I'm used to it. And then, of course, that 10% critical hit chance. Like I talked about, the third that I wanted is because I get a 15% critical hit damage extra, and like we know, the critical hit chance and damage are very important in the game. Then for my second piece, you might recognize it for my first build. Still using it, yes, still using it. 13.7% weapon damage, 14.7% skill repair, almost 12% critical hit damage, the cap on there, and again a mod of critical hit damage of 11.2%. And then the talent on there, Companion. While you are within 5 meters of an ally or skill, total weapon damage is increased by 15%. That's the second reason why I'm using the healer drone. It will always float above your head if you keep it on yourself, of course, because you can give it to your allies as well. So you will always have that companion activated, always have that 15% weapon damage. You don't have to be in cover, you can just run around, you will always have that 15% weapon damage. If your skill broke, you can even put down your hive, put it next to you, and you will still have the 15% weapon damage. Of course, if your hive and all your other skills are down, just stand next to an NPC or one of your teammates and your 15% weapon damage is back again. Then, of course, the 2 important pieces of this gear. But no, let's talk about the holster first. The holster, Seska, 10% critical hit chance, that's why I chose it. It already came with 15% weapon damage, so this is a very nice find. Already with 11% critical hit damage on there, so I could roll that 5.7% critical hit chance on there. Almost the cap, as we know, 6% is the highest. So this is a very nice roll. So now let's start talking about these two pieces, guys. As you know, these are the two pieces that you need to have on every build. It doesn't matter if you're using an LMG, it doesn't matter if you're using a rifle. These two pieces are a must have on every build. And why, guys? Let's start with the gloves. These are from Petrov, these are the named gloves, the contractor's gloves. Why choosing for these gloves? You're not using an LMG, I know. This gives me 11% damage to armor, guys, and go for this. Because this multiplies. This is very good attribute to go for. And this attribute, the 11% damage to armor, you can only find on the contractor's gloves of Petrov. And that's why I'm using this. Of course, I found a god roll, 15% weapon damage, and then of course at 11% damage to armor on there, that will be always there. And then I rolled that 12% critical hit damage on there. Then for the second piece that is a very useful and in my opinion should be on every build is the Overlord knee pads, the Fox Prayers. I'm using a rifle myself, so this is very nice, but if I'm not using a rifle, I will choose these knee pads because this will have that 15% damage to target out of cover. Again, a unique attribute and can only be found on these knee pads. I found it with 11.3% weapon damage, so I rolled that 12% critical hit damage on there. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much my build. Of course, the skills I chose for Revive Hive because you die a lot, of course, especially with that 6 red core. And because I'm using a technician, I will get 1 skill tier for free. It's just how the technician rolls. So my skills will be on skill tier 1. I will get 1 charge for free, 10% revived armor for free, 5 meters of range and 70% health of my hive itself. And that will give me 5 charges, a range of 9 meters, a duration of 50 seconds, and will give me a revive armor of 44%. And then for my second one, I chose the drone. Like I explained, it can hover above me. That will activate that companion. Through the skill tier 1, it gives me 20% armor repair and 70% health for my drone. And comes down to almost 2 million health for my drone. A duration of 192.5 seconds. And that's a long time, guys. That's a long time. And it will give me a healing of 27.5k. And that's pretty decent. It's not that great. You know, if we look at the chem launcher, that will repair our armor for 290k. But if the chem launcher disappears, the companion disappears as well. I'm using this drone especially for my companion, and it heals me quite a bit. Or yeah, that 27.5k for a 6 core build is pretty decent. And then of course my watch boosts it a little bit, but it shouldn't be higher than yours, or maybe that 1% higher. It will not matter that much within the stats. And talking about stats, guys, let's get over to the stats. My weapon hits for 91.2. My bad, I said 105. That's not correct because my companion was activated. So my gun hits for 91.2k. A critical hit chance of 51.1% and almost 130% critical hit damage. I know this could be a bit higher, but this is a base build, guys. This is pretty easy to make. Of course, you need to find the rolls with it like I did, but it's a pretty easy and base build, guys. You can all make this. And then armor damage of 16%, 8% health damage, a range of 35 meters, and this is all with my M4, guys, so don't forget that. Reload time of 2.7 seconds, of course, because we have the sturdy from the extra bullets. That gives me that 10% reload speed bonus, or yeah, it's not a bonus, it's minus 10% reload speed, of course. And then let's get over to the other stats, guys. 80.6% all weapon damage bonus and 40% assault rifle damage bonus. The main gun we are shooting with is our assault rifle, so we have a whooping 120.6% raw weapon damage, guys. And yes, I said 120 because in my opinion you can combine these. If you're shooting it with your assault rifle, like this build we do, it is a combined. So it's 120% weapon damage. Almost the max cap of critical hit chance, but in my opinion that 50% is enough. And almost 130% critical hit damage. And just like you saw in the intro, it hits hard, guys. Even for a base build, we can even hit harder. Then of course, the 25% light machine gun damage and the 25% rifle damage bonus through my specialization, and of course Petrov and the Overlord that gives me that 10%. And then let's get over to the rest, guys. The rest isn't that great, of course, because we're rocking the 6 core. We will only have 666k armor. Then we got 275k health, and health generation, of course only a 1300 because yeah, our health is pretty low. A pulse resistance of 50% because of our specialization, and yeah, 5.8% explosive resistance is pretty nice, but it doesn't help you. Even though the 0.2% hazard protection, the hazard protection will take you down, and that's one of the things in my opinion that they need to look at, because it's too overpowered in my opinion. My homie Gore made a build. He had 93% bleed resistance. He stand next to a bucket that explode, gave him that bleed resistance, and the bleed killed him with unbreakable everything on there. So yeah, the status effects, in my opinion, from the enemies to us are too overpowered. That's a talk for another time, guys. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's my build, my base build. Like I said, tomorrow I will bring the advanced build, or maybe the day after that, because yeah, like you know, I waited 2 days with my content. Wasn't my intentions, but it's my birthday today, so I needed to get some things ready for tonight, of course. But tomorrow or the day after that, I will drop the next build, the advanced DPS, and then the day after that, or maybe the day after that, I will drop the straight pure DPS build. But for today, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to smash that like button and hit that subscribers button. And of course the notification bell. PurePrime out.